Good morning. I am on my last day of vacation, so I'm gonna make myself some breakfast. I'm gonna have a slow morning and enjoy myself. Well, I made myself cream of rice with protein, which is something I've never had before, so I'm gonna try this. It smells really nice. It looks like grits, which is interesting because I haven't had grits in years because of my corn situation. But I used to love grits, so if I can imitate that feeling, I'll be quite happy. I'm also having my coffee. I put vanilla protein and cinnamon on top just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. It didn't taste bad. Like it's not, it tastes like protein, but it's not bad. It's quite nice. I wanted something creamy. I've been craving something creamy, and creamy things are forbidden to me because of my dairy. Dairy and corn. Like I can't eat dairy and corn. Sadness. Both of those things are in a lot of things, and it's very hard to avoid them. It's interesting. I went with cream of rice because I used to eat a lot of cream of wheat like growing up. I always thought that was nice, but I never tried cream of rice. And I was like, oh, people seem to enjoy this with protein. Maybe I'll like it too. I can see myself having this. It just takes a little bit to cook it, and it makes a lot. Like this is one serving. It's a lot. I'm sure it's very filling. But anyhow, today's my last day of vacation, as I said. I'm going to enjoy it, although it's weird because today is the 2nd of July, and obviously I'm American, so we've got the 4th of July off, but my university where I work decided to give us the 5th also, so I'm going back to work for one day. But I'm also working the weekend, so it's like a mini break in between. This mug from Kentucky. I did not go to Kentucky. Apparently, the Starbucks in my building received the wrong order. They were supposed to receive the Florida mugs, and I guess they say this happens a lot. They got the Kentucky mugs instead, so they just gave them away. And I thought it was cute, and now it has a story. So I will be using it. But anyhow, my plans for today are to tidy up because I had a colonoscopy yesterday and I was in no fit state to do anything. I did it early. I normally you do it at 45. I did it a little bit earlier just because I have so many digestive issues like corn and dairy, and I didn't want to dismiss them because recently two of my friends have been diagnosed with colon cancer, and those rates have been increasing in younger people. So I decided to go to a gastro a few months ago and get an appointment. The prep was awful, as they say. I mean, it wasn't awful. It tastes like you're drinking salt water, at least the one I had. They were supposed to put a lemon packet in it. They did not put the lemon packet in it. So it just tastes like really salty water, and you have to drink 4 liters of it. It's massive. And because I did not think about it when they offered me the appointment, I accepted an afternoon appointment. Word of advice, do not do afternoon appointments. Do the morning, because at least that way you have to take it all in one go the night before and not delay the torture by having to take half of it at night and half of it in the morning, and also extend your no eating window. So my appointment was set at 1:30, and then their computers went down. So my actual colonoscopy did not happen until almost, I think, 3:30, so about 2 hours later, and it was just awful because I got a migraine, of course, because of the no eating, the no caffeine, all that. So like all the triggers that could trigger me definitely triggered me. The stress, the noise, the long fasting window, the complete lack of caffeine for more than 24 hours, which I definitely need as a migrainer, and the possibility that it would not happen and I would have to do it all over again, which was awful. I was like, nope, if this can't happen, I am not doing this again for a while. But all in all, it finally did happen. They ended up having to go to a paper system because the actual it was like the internet, the charts, all the stuff. I imagine they had some sort of DOS attack. I don't know if that's what happened, but I anticipate that in a few months we will receive a letter saying, like, we apologize, your information was stolen. It's happened before. So I predict there will be a letter in the mail letting us know to sign up for Experian or something. That happens so often, I am already signed up for Experian because Experian lost our information. So I finally got to have it done. Luckily, nothing was there. I'm fine. There were no polyps. There were no itises of any kind. And it's just IBS. So I'm glad that I now confirmed that the awful sensations I feel are just your regular run of the mill IBS. So I just need to keep doing what I'm doing and watching what I eat and avoiding the things that trigger me. But luckily, in the back of my mind, I went in not expecting to find anything and being hopeful that nothing would be found because, knock on wood, we have had no colon cancer in my family. But my grandfather had an abdominal cancer. So I always had that little fear in the back of my mind that something might be there. And with all of my other incidental findings that I've had in the last few years, it's always in the back of my mind that there might be something in my body that I'm unaware of. But luckily, there was nothing. But like I said, I do have two friends. One whose colon cancer was treated with very aggressive chemo and it went into remission for 6 months and then it came back and now she's figuring things out again. And my boyfriend's very close, longtime childhood friend who I think is terminal. I'm not sure his treatments were working, but he's stage 4 Mets, so we don't know what that means in the long run. Like his treatments are working, but does that just mean he gets a few more years? We don't know. He's not really sure himself. So we're still just hoping that things turn out for the best. But he has mets into his liver, and his was just found routinely. No signs, no symptoms. So get checked if you're of the age. If you suspect you have something, if you feel weird, advocate for yourself. Get them to check you, even if you're not 45 or older. Like it's just not worth. It. If you have insurance, it's just a test. It's not that scary, and it's not worth them finding something when it's too late. With our friend, with both of my friends, it was completely accidental. One person, she's very healthy. She's a vegan. She eats well. She moves. She exercises. She does all the things right, and it was there, and now she's going through chemo again. And with our other friend, his diet and lifestyle is a little bit less like idealistic and perfect, but he had no symptoms or indications that this was happening. So you never know. If you feel a little weird or off or you notice something, the best thing you can do is get checked. But luckily, I don't have to worry about this for the next 10 years. So it's nice. And next time I'll remember morning appointments, not afternoon. This is a lot, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to have all of it. That's always my problem when I make breakfasts like these. This is why I don't make hot breakfasts before work, because I feel sometimes like I make so much and I'm like, this is nice, but after a few spoonfuls, I'm kind of tired of it because it's just like one flavor. But I did want to try it, and I had the time to do it today. So the plan is tidy. I finished writing the novel. That is a thing that I achieved during my vacation. I was not sure that I would, but I had given myself a goal of wrapping things up by the end of the quarter, and I did. So I'm proud of myself for that. This is book 3 in the series. If you've been following along for a while now, I have tried querying 2 different books in the past like 10 years. I've written several others in between that I've shelved for later and that I am planning to maybe rewrite and age up a little bit. Um, but I just made the decision last like February-ish. I was just going to self-publish. I kind of like there's a lot about the traditional publishing industry and the way it works that I just wasn't jiving with. And the rejections I was getting, I have weird feelings about them. And it was just one of those things where I was like, I don't know. I think if there's a reader out there for my books, I would like to find them. And I feel like at this point in my life, I care more about starting off that career and finding those readers than waiting for the one person who will say, yeah, let me take a chance on this. And then the one publisher that will say, like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And then not put any money or marketing behind it, which seems to be the case for a lot of books. So if I'm going to be putting the money and the marketing behind it regardless, I just feel like, well, let me do it my way and see what happens first. And then maybe later on in a few years, I'll try again to be traditional. I have the experience now, so you learn something as you go, but it just wasn't working. And I decided to just move on, change paths, and I'm a lot happier about it, to be honest. I'm more excited. So, what was originally one book that I was querying, I have now written two other books in the series, and there's another couple books because in my mind, like as I started writing them, I'm like, oh, this person deserves a book and this person deserves a book. So it will probably expand to a few more books. But my goal is to go back to book one, do another quick edit this point around, and then seek a professional editor to go through it with the goal of publishing by next fall 2025. So that's the plan. Fingers crossed. I will document it throughout the way. I started vlogging just as a way to document my life for future me, and that's what we're doing. So I'll probably document that path more closely. I'm getting tired of this stuff. It's a distinctive taste, and I'm not sure I'm loving it for this amount. But yeah. So that's the plan, is to wrap things up and move on, prepare. So I might do some quick organizing of my plans for the next quarter. I have that all set, but I need to like put it into the binder, start preparing the pieces, like get the draft that I'm going to review, download it. I'm still debating if I want to do fully or in print. I'm hit or miss with my feelings on printing it out and actually doing it. Sometimes I just prefer to do it straight on the draft. So decisions to be made. And a trip to Goodwill, because I went over the weekend. I saw a bag I liked. I did not buy it because I was like, you know what? Let me think on it. And if it's still here later, I will buy it. So this will be the trip to see if it's still there. If it's not, no biggie. I didn't really like desperately need it. But if it is, I really like the style and I might go back for it. So that's the plan for today. I couldn't do it. It was too bland. I had to give up. I'll get hungry later and make something else. I made the effort. Sometimes you gotta try things. Sometimes you discover things are just not for you. But for now, I'm going to paint because I bought a paint by numbers a few months ago and intended to get to it as an activity to engage my brain and my creativity with low effort. Not as stressful as having to fill the canvas myself. So I've been doing the bottom half, which is this. Now the problem is that this was a clearance item. And these guys, some of them are a little bit dry. So I have found that at least I can reconstitute them with water. So I have this little palette that I bought at Five Below that I had not actually used. I remembered I had it, so I pulled it out so we can use it. We've got the water in the turtle shell. And so we're going to go back to it and try to do some of these numbers because it's been a couple of days since I've worked on it. So the problem is that the numbers are so faint, it's hard to see them when there's too much light. So I keep having to do this like in betweeny time zone areas where like it's a little bit twilighty and then I can see them better. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I know why. You're going to cover them with paint, so they have to be light, but they're like really light. So we're going to pick a number. I think 3 is where I left off. So yeah, I see a couple threes there. So we're gonna start painting. And let's see if this has, oh good, excellent. The water definitely worked. It looks a little bit better. I'm gonna use the palette to separate a little bit out of it and so keep it a bit more preserved. Just like pop a little bit up here and bloop. There we go. So I don't have to keep dipping in and potentially risking it getting even more dried out. So let's put some water in there just to keep it a little bit loosey-goosey. And yeah, perfect. That's good. There we go. So I'm waiting for an Amazon Fresh order because I decided that it saves me money. Even if I have to pay tip, I don't get tempted to go buy other stuff in the store. So Amazon Fresh order it is. I have to like lean back to see the lines better. There we go. Yeah, so we're gonna do that later, make the bed, go to Goodwill. I am wearing a robe that my nieces picked out for me for my birthday. My aunt, yes, they're technically my cousins, but my aunt and I are like closer in age to siblings, so I think of her as my sister more so than an aunt. So my aunt has my nieces pick out outfits for me whenever it's my birthday, and I think it's funny that my sense of style matches that of a 3 and a 9-year-old. But it does. I have to admit, I do in fact dress like a toddler a lot of the time. We're looking for 3s and hoping not to get 13s by accident. Is that the, oh, nope, it's an 8. Was that the only 3 left? Did I just loop out paint for no reason? Let's keep looking. There has to be another. I'll keep searching. Okay, so I did a few of the colors down there, and then I started this big section, which ironically, this color, number 5, has like only a half-filled pot, like, so I definitely had to water it down a little bit because I see a lot of 5s going around the background. They're pretty big areas, like significant chunks of this area are in this shade, but I have very little of the paint compared to like all these little tiny ones that require a lot of coverage but are more mixed up. So yeah, it's not perfect. It was only $5, so I can't complain too much. And this is the actual direction. So this is is it a Matisse? A Van Gogh? I can't remember. It's, I think it's a Matisse. I'll double check, but it's like peaches and apricots and like a plant up there. This is the bottom. It's supposed to be like a fabric. So it's very nice. I like it. I like this. But yeah, it's definitely for adults because look how tiny these numbers are. So it requires a lot of patience and good eyesight. I'm back. I am very sneezy because I went to my mom's place and her cats have like flyness forever and just dander, I guess. And even though I'm not particularly allergic to cats, they get me every time. I guess it's just like the entire concentration of cats. She's at 4. It's just too much for my nose. So I just took some Flonase and I'm hoping that it gets under control. I'm going to hole punch my next planner. I have to work on some journaling for the corner, get that done. I did go to Goodwill. I did fail in my efforts. It just wasn't for me, and that's fine. The bag that I wanted, I'm sure was long gone. It's one of those things where I was like, I was tentative, I was hesitant, I was like, do I really need this? The answer is no, I do not really need this. I have enough bags. But it was just nice. It had a nice style. It's like a hobo bag. And it had that like preppy chic look that I sometimes enjoy. I like a classic sometimes kind of androgynous look for work. So it just looked like a full bag, but somebody else will enjoy it. That's fine with me. I can always really like just scour Poshmark for something similar if I really want. Like, I know the brand and all that, that's like the style. But I'm probably not going to have enough bags. Such is life. I'm obviously being a lot better about not impulsively buying things, and sometimes that means that I will sit on things. With something like a thrift store, you can't sit on it too long, and I didn't go back for a few days, so I figured it might not be around anymore by the time I went over there. And it wasn't, and that's okay. I'll learn to appreciate something else that I have in my closet and just sort through that. So here I am. It is so hot. I have the fans running, but I try to not turn on the air conditioner until a little later, just to kind of keep that cost down, because it's going to just get more expensive the later it goes in the summer. It is July. It feels like 100-something degrees outside, but I'm sure it's going to get worse. And that's just how it is. I did start going through some of the stuff around the house as well, so I did do some of the tidying and all that sort of thing. I have to make some covers, thumbnails or not covers, for the vlog that will go up before this one, so that's my next plan for today. I am thinking of focusing on some of the online stuff while I can. I always end up, like I said before, kind of dropping the ball on blogging and just social stuff online, because it's one of those things where it's like, I make no money off of this. This is just for fun. It started as a hobby. It really just started as a way for me to learn to like use more of the ins and outs of Premiere, so sort of like a personal development and just playing around with skills that I have that were kind of just laying dormant. So using Premiere, using audio, stuff like that. I don't have the best equipment because I also, like I said, don't make any money off of this, so I haven't really invested in super high quality equipment. I have the basics, and we may do. There we go. These are all finished. So I want to try and get back on a regular vlogging schedule, but it just seems a little hard to stick to weekly vlogging because I don't do much other than go to work most of the time, especially with no buys. Like, I'm not going actively out to places to shop and spend money. So in terms of like exciting new things to do, I'm not doing that often. So that's why it's kind of fallen to monthly vlogging at this point. But I would like to do this more consistently just because I do enjoy it, but also balancing life, time, all that stuff. So all this to say, this is a goal, but will it happen? I don't know. For now, we do what we can. So I will check in with you guys later and put this stuff into that binder, but also separate the stuff that I still haven't finished. So that's the plan. Okay, so planner complete. That's one task done. I wrote out all the stuff that I have to do this week, which, like I said earlier, it's going to be kind of an on and off week because I'm only going to be at work for the one day. So that should be nice. It should allow me to ease into the very many tasks that I have for this quarter. Every time I do this, I kind of freak out. My first instinct is to look at the plan and be like, oh my god, it's too much. But it's a realistic plan. It's a very detailed, well thought out and analyzed plan in terms of time and what time is actually available to me and how much time things take to complete. So I know that the overwhelm is just that like initial mild feeling of panic, and I can do this. I can get through it, and if I don't get through it entirely, then I move a project on to the next quarter, which is what happened with this quarter. There was one project that I got pretty much through, but there were other goals that I just wouldn't be able to accomplish at this point. So realistically, those need to be set aside for the future anyhow, because I'm just not there in terms of setting up a self-publishing identity So I took care of what I could take care of, which was like setting up the website, putting in content. But the branding and a few of the other things are kind of on hold. I need to do some preliminary work to just have it set up. But until I know what like covers are going to look like, the branding is still just kind of up in the air. It's a guesswork thing. So at this point, it's just kind of creating branding for my identity as an author, as opposed to the actual series when it comes out, because that work just, it can't be done at this point. It needs to happen a little bit later. So that's the plan. This first week is just preliminary prep, gathering all the documents I need to gather, backing things up, etc. So we can do this. I can do this. And that's just that is the mentality that I need going forward with this. It's a big leap, and I just need to remind myself that I'm taking baby steps, and we're just going to do what we can do and move forward. That's the plan. I still need to go through the journaling that I wanted to do for some health goals that I'm setting aside also for the quarter. That is the next stage, but I also might be working on this tomorrow. I don't know what it took, so a couple more things off the to-do list, and I kind of want to go paint again, so that might be the next thing. I am going to paint a bit more before making dinner. I need the light on because it helps. Let's see. Lights. There we go. I did a thing that I have been meaning to do for a while, which is that I went through and I cleared up my YouTube. So I have been on YouTube apparently since 2016, on and off, and there was a lot of stuff there. And when I first started, I was doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, because it was 2016. So there's that. And I had some videos that got thousands of views and other videos that got barely any views. And I went through a lot of different life stages since 2016 to now, obviously. But it was one of those things where the algorithm does better if you focus. And since 2020, I really have been focusing on vlogging. It's kind of art. It's fun for me. I like doing this, and like I said, I am enjoying the challenge of learning new skills. Like recently, I've been playing with the new version of Adobe. I had the old version for a long time. I use Premiere, so it's an art, and it's a valuable skill. Like, it's a thing that not many people know how to do. I'm not saying that I'm like the world's greatest editor, but in a pinch, whenever I'm called to make videos at work, which is a thing that I have to do, my skills stand out because not everybody is equipped with that kind of a skill, and like, nobody knows how to use Premiere where I work. Like, maybe 2 people know how to do the basics, and everybody else is using like Zoom to record videos, and then at best roughly editing them. At worst, they just upload it as is and call it a day. So that's, my initial intention was to document like different things that I was doing in life, like going through that history. I had product reviews, I had planner videos, I had a lot of writing updates, which I did keep because that is still in line with the overall, like, not mission, but like vision of my channel, I guess you could call it. Like, I post about writing updates, I post about life, health, and stuff like that. But I'm not a health channel. I've never pretended to be. I'm not a minimalism channel anymore. That's a lifestyle that I realize I'm never quite gonna have. I like living with less, but I still like stuff. So I'm not a minimalist, and that's a part of my life that I've experienced, I've gone through, and I'm fine with the level of, like, acquisition and consumerism that I engage in. So those videos stopped, and so supposedly, the algorithm likes it when you have a neat and tidy channel, and I did not have a neat and tidy channel anymore. So I went through, I made a lot of things private. I had, I think it was something like 200 some odd videos. So I went through and just did mass privating of a lot of those videos that no longer really apply, but I wanted to keep them for myself. So they're there, but they're not accessible, and that's fine, even though some of them are the videos that would get the most hits and attract the most viewers. Like, it makes no sense to attract the wrong viewer, because then they're not interested in my current content, so they won't subscribe. And you want to have that, what is that called? I'm forgetting the word. It's not turnover, but let's say that. Like the part where a person watches and goes, hey, I like this person's content, and they subscribe. So having a person who comes for a one-off, what is that word? That doesn't happen. So I decided, you know what? Let's do this. Let's remove that stuff, hide it so it's not searchable, and it should ideally bring me the kinds of viewers who want to watch the kind of content I post, which is living in your, whatever age videos. At this point, my videos have taken me through my late 20s into my 30s and now my 40s. So the life of a person living alone for the time being, at least, and just living life as best as possible, writing, dealing with chronic illness, etc. So that is ideally what I'm trying to attract. It's just folks who like watching people going through everyday life, just as you are now. So here we are. I'm going to paint for a little while longer and then make dinner. This is what felt right in the moment. This is the progress I've made so far. So I got a bunch of the little sections down here, mostly this shade and that shade were new, and a few of the lighter blue also. And then this like teal blue color. It's a little bit transparency because of the issue where I keep having to put water into the paint to reconstitute it. So like in some sections it's a little bit more clear, but it's fine. And I also realized it is not Degas or Van Gogh. It was actually Cezanne. So it's this one. And like I said, it was on clearance. It was $5. So for $5, you get what you pay for. And sometimes the paints are a little bit dry, but it still works. I was afraid I was going to have to trash it, but luckily, this kind of acrylic can be reactivated with the water. So at least it wasn't a total loss. And it's just fun. It's really meditative. I like doing it. I had never done paint by numbers before. I used to paint, and so it's a nice way to get back into painting without having to worry about coming up with an image and sketching it out and planning it and buying all the paints and stuff. Like, it's just fun to do it, like get my hands on some brushes, slap some paint on a canvas and call it a day. And it's pretty, so I hope it'll look pretty in the end. Yeah, it's called Still Life with Apples and a Pot of Primroses. So they're not apricots. They are in fact apples. They just look more like apricots to me because of the colors. So that's what we have. I have a bunch of other things to build that I received as presents for my birthday. So I've got a few things to keep me just engaging with my hands and using a different part of my brain, sparking some creativity. So that's nice. But I'm gonna wrap it up here for the day. I think you guys have heard me ramble enough for one day. It was a nice vacation that I had. I did enjoy my It was officially 10 days off. I really needed it, and it was just what I needed to wrap up a bunch of just projects I had in the works and feel accomplished and also feel relaxed and re energized and recharged because by the end of the semester, I'm usually pretty low energy and I'm just run down and hating everything. So, having the time away from work to recharge for the next year is always good for my mental health and just for boosting productivity as I come back because I will have refilled my well. So, I'll see you guys next time. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world and have a good one. Bye.